Alright, so let's go ahead and get started for today. We're going to stem off of yesterday when we finished doing the crimping of the brushes, okay? I do have polish everywhere and my hands are really dry because I've been using the acetone the last 2 class periods, but we'll go with it. We're going to do like 3 or 4 things today, okay? So, first, since you're not new to class, so you know how it goes, but you're new to nails, so at the start of a workshop or the start of a unit, I'll pull out everything we're going to need for that unit, for that lesson, for that week or workshop. Example, today we're not going to use the clear and the black, and we're not going to use this, but when you put up today, you're going to put all this at the forefront of your kid, so tomorrow you open your box, everything's at the front, you pull it out, and you don't have to dig. You have to dig through your scissors because you put it in the front, okay? That's how it's just going to be easier for you daily, okay? All right, so this is what we're going to need. Your palette has your flower. These are the flowers I made in demos in class, so they don't go from big to small. Yours should. You should have at least 5 petals. If you've already finished yours, I've already graded it. I already looked at it, graded it, and I already checked you off, so you don't have to put it back on the counter. If you did not finish your petals from big to small, then you do need to finish it. You have till Friday, and you do need to put it back on the counter so I can check you off. If it didn't have your name, I didn't check you off, okay? So, question on the petals. All right, as far as for when we are working on building something off of the nail, what does that mean and what does that look like? So we built the flower off the nail. Client comes in, or a client messages and says, this is the flower that I want. I'm not going to have time to build that when she's in front of me, so I'm going to go ahead and just build it ahead of time. You're sitting in Skills USA competition and you're doing the 3D nail art contest. You're going to build something off of the nail. This is that process. So we built our flower. It hardened, it dried, did all the things. I'm going to take it off of my palette. I'm then going to bring my little container. You don't need to pull this out right now. I'm going to then open up my container and I'm going to store my petals in order or by color or however organizational system that you want in my little container. So when the client comes, I'm going to pull it out and then I'm going to glue it on her nails. Okay, same thing with the project. Now, that is building something off of the nail. Okay, that's what that means. Now, when we built this, we built it on a flat surface. So take one of your petals, the top is beautiful, you've done your texture, it looks exactly how you want it to look. Turn it over and look at the bottom and feel the bottom. It's not so cute, it's a little rough, but it's flat. We built it on a flat surface. Okay, take your thumbnail, take your petal, and put it on the thumbnail like you're gonna glue it. Doesn't look so hot from the side, does it? Okay, maybe it's pretty big, but it's flat. You cannot put a box on a ball. You just can't because it's flat and it's rounded. So your nail curved. When you look at them like you're going to poke you in the eyeball from the side, they're curved from front to back and side to side. So this is not going to work. So when you're building something off the nail, you have to pay attention to the surface you're building on. This is going to be flat. Now if you do something tiny, it'll maybe fit, but it's flat. It's still flat and rounded. So you can look for something that has a curve, or for example, your bottle that has a curve this way. Now let's just imagine. I'm going to put a thin piece of foil and I'm going to put it over this curve. I'm going to take my product and I'm going to build, but it's going to curve instead of being flat. Once it hardens and dries, I'm going to take this off. It's curved. Is it going to fit on my nail? It'll fit because it's curved. Maybe not this curve, but if there's a curvature to whatever you build it on, it'll harden that way and it'll fit on the nail better. So take that into consideration whenever you're building something, and also take into consideration what finger. Is it on the toe because it'll be flatter? Is it on the pinky? What kind of structure they have. Okay, so that is how you build up of the finger and some extra tips. Now, or off of the nail, can you come back and color on top of this? Yes. If you build it white, and just have a bunch of these ready to go, and your client wants hot pink, can you paint it hot pink? Sure you can. Absolutely. Can you glitter it, bedazzle it? Sure you can. Okay, you can have pre-dones. Can I come in and file and shape it up and buff it and smooth it out? Yeah, of course. Okay, you can do all of those things. So if you're done with your flower, at some point today, you're going to put them away. And if you are not done with your flower, in a little bit you'll put it back, or you can in a little bit put it back into your palette and put it back on the counter. Okay, so you're going to put that over to the side for a quick second. All right, so yesterday we crimped our brushes. Okay, so today what we are going to do is we are going to make a striper brush. So sometimes you can go to the store, go to a hair show, and you're going to buy a very expensive striper brush. This was $12.99. Oop, I bent it. It was $12.99. Let me put this here. I pushed it in wrong and it bent. But it's $12.99 and it's got like 6 to 10 hairs. Okay? And it is to make really fine lines. Some brushes, depending on where you buy them, the brand, quality, some are 20, 30 bucks, right? Brushes are expensive. Well, maybe you don't have money to buy those right now, but you really want a striper brush. Or maybe you have these. These are the striper polishers that we have. We have a whole set over there between the towers. So this striper polish comes with a striper brush, right? Supposedly. It's supposed to be striper, but when I do this, it gives me a really thick line. It doesn't give me a thin line at all, and it's the bristles aren't great. So what I could do is I can cut these bristles and leave just 5 to 6 hairs on here, fibers on here, and then I have a thinner striping brush. How would I do that? I would take some polish remover, not pure acetone. I would clean this up and then do what you're about to learn. And then you can just pull it out and you have a really thin striper brush. Ideal? No, but a makeshift, do what you can with what you got, absolutely. Okay, so let's learn how to make a striper brush. Now, these bristles are super tiny, y'all, super tiny. So it's going to be difficult for you to get a handle of it, especially if you have nails, but just be patient, okay? Bless you. I've done all of the 3, so the only one I have left is this one, but pick one of your floral brushes. It doesn't matter which one. If it's crimped, it's better because there's a top and a bottom to the brush. So I picked this one. It has a crimp on it already, so this is the top of the brush. This is the bottom. Here's the right and here's the left. I'm going to do a little diagram before we get started so you understand. So here's the brush, okay? Here is my metal ferrule, right? Here's the crimp on the bottom, and here's my crimp on the top, okay? These are my fibers, my brush bristles, yeah? We're going to cut like a target. We're going to cut the outside bristles and only leave the middle bristles of the core that are going to be these right here. We're going to leave 6 to 5 individual bristles. That's going to be hard to see because when you look at your brush, that's not a big brush. Okay, so that's the front view. Let's do bird's eye view. Bird's eye view. The bird is flying over the top of us. The roof is gone. Bird is looking down. What does the bird see? The top of everything. So take your brush and look at it like it's going to poke you in the eyeball, and you're looking at the top, okay? So that's what I'm going to draw. This is the straw, the top of the metal ferrule, okay? You've got your bristles that are all here, right? The bristles are all in the middle. We're going to cut all the orange off. We're only going to leave 6 to 5 hairs in the middle. Does that make sense? Okay. Be patient with yourself. The first thing that we're going to cut off is going to be the side. So this part we're going to cut off. So let's do this together. You're going to need your brush and your scissors, whether they're the stork scissors or the regular curve, doesn't matter. Don't cut yourself and don't cut too much. It's better to cut little at a time. And you're going to snip, snip, snip. You're not just going to chomp off, okay? So I'm going to take it a little bit more than half, and I'm going to save that half to the left. So I'm going to cut the right side of my brush. Now you are going to manhandle the brush a little bit. You are going to pull and fray the bristles, and that's okay. Now, to give you a little bit of a stance, I'm going to poke my stomach with the brush. I'm going to push it against my stomach so that I can hold the brush and get some stability. You can also do this on top of the table. I'm going to pull the bristles to the side. I'm going to come in however you see fit, and you're going to cut. And I'm going to snip, 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 little at a time. And I've cut those bristles off. Hello.
Hi.
Sorry,
How are
you?
You filled out the whole thing, but you didn't sign it.
Where? That would be very useful. Did that do buy?
It doesn't matter.
No, okay. And, oh, yeah.
I was like, she filled out the whole paper and didn't sign it.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
And it was on 8/28, no,
I don't know. It doesn't matter. Was it Monday or something like that?
I think so.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Thank
you.
Sorry, y'all.
You're good, thank you. Okay, so you cut the bristles on the right side. So now we're gonna cut the bristles on the left side. So you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna repeat, but you're gonna cut this bright orange, bright yellow side. So you have the top of the brush, you have the bottom of the brush. Okay, you've cut the right bristles. This is the bristle on the right side. So now you're going to take your bristle, your brush. You're gonna pull down, hold it against your stomach, and you're going to hold your scissors with your opposite hand. Now, because you have been coloring the coloring journal with your left hand, your hands now have the muscle memory and the strength to be able to work with the opposite hand. Okay, so you've cut the hairs on the right, you've cut the hairs on the left. Okay, when you look at it like it's going to poke you in the eyeball and you hold it up against the sky, you can see a little bit better. You've cut the right side, you've cut the left side. You now have to cut the top and you have to cut the bottom. Whatever that face is for, you can use another brush if you messed that brush up. I don't know what you did, but so we're going to cut this side of the brush. And then you're going to cut the bottom side of the brush. Okay? You're going to be left with just the middle 6 to 5 bristles of your brush. So you have the top, you have the bottom, you've cut the right, you've cut the left. You're going to turn the brush on its side to cut the other two sides. Okay? So let me find my top, let me find my bottom. That's my top, that's my bottom. I'm going to pull it to the side. I'm going to pull the bristles away so I don't cut all the bristles. Don't go scissor happy. And then flip it to the other side. Or use your opposite hand. And snip, snip. You can come in and custom cut it a little bit more, just making sure that you do not cut all of the bristles. So you can barely see it, but you have about 5 to 6 bristles left on your brush. Okay? When you look at it like it's gonna poke you in the eyeball, you can see short bristles around the middle. When you pull the bristles and you rotate your brush, you can see that they're literally coming from the middle of the target, the middle of the brush. They are going to be frayed a little bit, and you want that, and you even want to take your finger and mash the bristles in your finger a little bit, because then you actually separate the bristles and you can see how many bristles you have in your brush. This is how you make a striper brush. Now, that's how you do it. You can do that to these bottles or any brush that comes in a nail polish bottle, as long as you clean it up and all things. You can get any brush and do this to any kind of brush. The type of fiber makes a difference. We've talked about fibers last year, but This is an absolute, this next thing is an absolute DIY. It is not professional. It is not recommended. It's not clean, right? But it's something that you, as you're learning, right now that you probably don't have the money to buy the really expensive brushes, it's something that you, as you're learning, can do. Okay? Brush bristles, like the sable, like all those brushes, boar brush, you see the hair brushes, the Kolinsky, all those different brushes, they're animal hairs or they're fibers. Right? Like the mink, we talked about the lashes last year. Well, hair is a hair, right? So again, not professional, don't use it on your client, but just if you need it. If you have straight hair, not naturally curly, straight hair, clean, you can cut a few hairs off of you and you can make one of these as long as you need it. This is just for projects, just to play with. You can make your own brush. You take some of the fibers, cut them, take a glue gun and put a little bit of glue to glue the hairs together, and then glue or tape them on some kind of stick or at the end of a brush, and voila, you just made a brush. You can make it as long or as short as you choose. Just cut the tip to a point. That is a how do I DIY until I have money to buy the good stuff. Okay? Just for projects, not for clients or not for people. Okay, so now that we have our brush, we're going to put this to the side and our scissors to the side, and we are now going to focus on our product, our bottle container. Now, we ran out of alcohol, but we do have the acetone, so if you don't have liquid, you can get some liquid. Now, I'll do the alcohol. My fingers are getting a little dry. All right, this is a DuPont system. From what I understand, is a system that came from Germany, and so there's a hair color. Goldwell also has these pump type bottles for their developer. So we're gonna go ahead and use these for dispensing, not for cleaning. When you're gonna use it for cleaning, you pour some out on your little glass stamping dish. So these here, these little pump bottles, when you open them, you have to shake out the liquid, because if you lay them down, this liquid will seep out. And if it's acetone, it's gonna ruin anything that it touches. Also, if ever this little straw is kind of broken or pulled out, it doesn't suction up the liquid. So if this little straw needs to be pumped in, just push it in, okay? It is not a tightly sealed container. So if you lay it down, it will come up and out through the top, just FYI, okay? All right, so as we're using this, it can be dangerous, so you have to be careful, especially if there's acetone in it. You don't hover your head over the top and pump it, and you don't, typically we do it like this. We will pick it up and do this with our 4x4s is for facials, 2x2s are for nails. We don't do that facing towards somebody because they squirt out. One time I squirted out and it landed right on the camera lens and it messed up the lens, the outer lens. Okay, so you've got to be careful with it. So let me get my napkin. You're going to take your napkin and you're going to put your 2 fingers. You're going to hold the bottle and you're going to pump. Now yours is new, so you got to pump, 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 pump. When you feel your fingers are wet, that means that it has pumped up the liquid. Okay, so when it's new, sometimes you got to pump, 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 and then you're like, "Miss, it's broken." No, you just need to make it suction up the liquid. Okay. If I have acetone on my napkin, I can't just drop it wherever because it will still eat whatever it touches. If I were to have this alcohol, but if I have the acetone touch the marker, it will fuse together. If I have it touch my brushes, it'll mess up the paint. If I put it on the bed, on the whatever, it will eat it. Okay? If I have acetone and I leave the acetone on my mat, it's going to be okay because this is acetone proof. Now, if for whatever reason I leave my napkin with my acetone and it takes a long time to dry and I leave it there for a while, when I remove my napkin, my mat is going to be warped, meaning it kind of does this bubble thing. Don't panic. It's trying to eat the material, but it can't because it's acetone proof. So just give it a minute and it'll settle back down once the molecules of the mat dry. Okay, but I usually try to put it in my trash can or put it above something that's not gonna mess up. Go ahead and take alcohol or acetone, whatever, and then you're gonna dry your square nails that are on your mat, or not dry, but clean. And you're just gonna wipe. All right, so with this bottle, you're gonna grab it. Don't look over it. You're going to grab it. And as you grab it, you're going to dispense, meaning come up, bring up, take out some liquid. So we grab it like this and we pump, and you can see the liquid fill the dish. I'm going to take the brush I just cut. I'm going to dip my brush in there to let the bristles absorb the liquid so you can see how thin your brush came out to be and how much of a striper you now have. Okay? I'm going to fold my brush, my napkin over my brush, swipe it down, and there you go. Now, your brush may be bent because we manhandled it. That is only going to get fixed with what? Boiling hot water like we did yesterday. Okay? Okay, so we're done with the brush for today. So this here, there is liquid that's left over. Okay, this is wet, right? So the liquid, one, will evaporate. Two, because there's holes in here, like if you tilt yours, you can see 3 holes. That liquid seeps back down into the container. If you use, like if you're using glitter of any sort and you dip your brush in here, because some people will dispense it and they'll clean their tools here, because the glitter is going to come off and it's going to clog the inside, then your pump doesn't work. Good luck cleaning it. You just throw it away and get you a new one at that point. And then, let's say if I have red polish and I'm cleaning my polish here, all of this is going to turn red. 1, is going to get dirty. 2, the liquid gets dirty. And this liquid with time seeps back down into your container. When it seeps back down into your container, then you're going to come and look and see all the glitter and all the color, which is also another reason why we don't fill this to the top, because when it gets dirty, we just dump it. And we don't dump it down the sink, put napkins in it, and we throw it in the trash can. Careful with acetone, because it'll melt through the trash bag. So take your napkin and clean up. We always want to make sure we have clean. If you're going to use this for cleaning your brushes, like acetone, you pour it into that glass stamping dish. We only dispense from these bottles. Okay? So let's put that to the side. All right, so we've learned how to finish and work off of the nail for making a design or building off. We've learned how to crimp and make our brushes into thin stripers, how you can do that with this. You've learned how to use the bottle. Now, this we're going to use tomorrow. Now we're going to learn how to work our bottles and how to polish. Tomorrow we're going to continue how to learn how to polish with the lacquer. All right, so Wet n Wild, super cheap, super not professional, super inexpensive, and you'll feel it and see it, and I'm going to explain why. All right, so this bottle is not ergonomic, meaning it's made for you to be able to work better, because when you hold it, it's like when you're trying to roll it, you can't because it's square instead of round. When you're going to hold it, it's not a good feel in your hand. This is mainly made so that they can fit more bottles in a box for shipping, because round bottles in a box, you fit less, right? Round gallon compared to a square gallon of milk, right? This makes sense. It's all business. So we're going to take the white one. Everybody say nail lacquer. Okay, lacquer is nail polish that dries with the air. Okay, nail gel, those are other things. Okay, nail lacquer, regular nail polish. So back in the day, these used to have little beads inside of them. Don't shake yours, but nail techs used to go right, and then it was click, 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 and it would shake. Because the products in here back in the day, right, technology was different. The glitter was at the bottom, then it was the color, and then like oil at the top. It was separated. Polish doesn't expire until you open it, the air hits it, and then it begins to expire because it starts to dry up. So if you go to the nail supply and they've got polish and they're all dusty and they're like separated and old, they're still good. They've just been there for a while, okay? So whenever you're looking at your polish and there's no bead in it, it's just newer technology that it's made to where it doesn't separate or it doesn't have anything that separates. Okay, so these don't have the beads. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up. Oh no, sorry. We're gonna shake. Do our thing of shaking. We're gonna turn it upside down, and again, this is not ergonomic. This is square or rectangle, and we're gonna roll best we can to stir it up. Okay, that's how you do it. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna open. If you cannot open, okay, don't use your teeth. Okay, there should not be teeth marks on your stuff. Go to the grocery store. Don't steal them. Buy them and eat it. Buy broccoli. Broccoli has thick rubber bands at the bottom. They are the best rubber bands you can get for this stuff. Wash it, clean it. Okay, put one on the top, one on the bottom, and it just you open it like butter. Okay, so think that next time you go grocery shopping. Don't be stealing the rubber bands at the broccoli vegetable aisle. All right, so because we turned it upside down, that product seeps to the cap. So be careful when you open it. So we're gonna open it, we're gonna swirl the stem and make a swirly like a candy cane. And you can definitely feel how cheap that is because it's moving. Now when you get a chance, sometime whenever, in the middle of the towers, there's Tammy Taylor and Orly. Orally, the brushes are just, they like butter. It just goes right. They're perfect brushes. The bristles are great. Expensive. 15, sometimes 20 bucks maybe, depending on the color, the brand, season, and all that. So you're going to swirl. And on the inside corner, like face painting, wipe the bottom of the brush only. And flip the brush around so the top is now on the bottom. The bead of the polish is dripping to one side. So there's the top of the brush and there's the bottom of the brush. Your bead is at the bottom. That's what you want. Okay. We're going to take that bottom bead and we're going to wipe it on the inside corner. We're going to put our brush down. I can't stand it up, but I'll hold it. Do you see on the inside how it's gotten a little dirty from first and second period? Yours might not be because it's brand new. So with time, that gets tacky and sticky. And if I take your finger and tap the top, if your finger gets dirty, that means that is going to get on there. And when you close it, it's going to harden. And next time I open it, it's going to be hard to open. So to avoid that, we learn how to take care of our products. So you take your acetone. You dab a little bit of acetone on your napkin and you clean. These are the shoulders. This is the neck. This is the top of the neck. You clean the top of the neck of the bottle. You let it dry before you put your lid back on. Now, if you open a polish and it's really dirty on the inside, you take a Q-tip or a lint-free wipe. Dip it in some polish remover, not acetone, because acetone will melt this brush. Polish remover, and you clean the inside, and then they won't get stuck. Okay, so that's what you do with old polishes. Now you know what nail lacquer is. Now you know how to work the nail lacquer. Now you're gonna learn how to polish professionally. Okay.
9:30 ADA attendance reminder.
You're gonna put your brush in. You're gonna swirl. You're gonna wipe the bottom, flip it over. You're working with the bead on the top. That is now at the bottom. We're going to work on this first square nail. We're going to go down the middle, one strike, down the right, one strike, down the left, one strike, stop. You're going to see how cheap this is because you're not going to be able to finish the whole thing because it starts to dry. So swirl the stem, wipe the bottom, flip it over. The top is now on the bottom. The bead is now dripping to the bottom. I don't want product on my stem because then it's going to drip down on my nail. Flood my cuticle. I'm going to go to the middle, push down, stay away from that black line, push up a little bit to get right up to the black line underneath it. You're going to swipe down the middle. You're pressing the brush to expand the wingspan, and you're going to lift up at the tip. It's okay if you go past because typically you would be able to do that. Then you go to the right side. You're going to press your wings down. Expand that wingspan, go down to the tip, and then on the left side, press the brush down, expand the wings, and go all the way down. And at this point, you're going to notice you're not going to be able to finish because your polish starts to dry. So these are cheap, right? You can't get through a nail without having to reapply the polish because it's drying. That's not workable, okay? So We're going to use the good polishes and let you see the difference tomorrow. And we're going to continue this technique and polish on our nail tip. If you have to polish, what are you doing? Why are they can do that at home. Why are they paying you? What's the difference between you, the professional, and the girl sitting getting her nails done? She can do that at home. Grandma can do that. So you don't brush. It's a 3-stroke technique, down the middle, down the right, down the left, done. When you take your state board exam, down the middle, down the right, down the left, done. You got 3 years to practice. And at state board, you do it with red polish. So practice with red polish because red is hard. Okay? Red. Questions? Okay. Trash in the trash. You can take your acetone. You're going to take a little pump. You're going to hold it over. Let the acetone eat the product so you're not sitting there scrubbing and just spreading. And then wipe, and voila, it's gone in one swipe. So let it soak, and then wipe it away. Okay? Make sure your containers are closed and upright. And when you are ready, you may put your things away. And we shall continue with our technique tomorrow.